everyone, so let's talk about a situation I think a lot of us are in. You're looking at the iPhone 15 Pro, maybe you're holding one right now, or maybe you're thinking of picking one up for a good price. And you know what? It's still a fantastic phone. But then you see this, the brand new iPhone 17 Pro. And the big question is, what's really changed in 2 years? Is it just a small step up, or is it a big enough leap to justify your money? Well, let's talk about it. In this video, we're going to break down the real-world differences between these two. And I'm not just going to read you a spec sheet, we're going to cover the design and, maybe more importantly, how they actually feel. We'll talk about the performance, the cameras, what's going on with the battery life on the 17 Pro, which is, kind of insane, and of course the price. By the end, I'll give you my honest take on who should buy which phone, and I'll tell you which one I've personally decided to make my new daily driver. Alright, so to kick things off, let's start with the very first thing you notice when you pick these phones up, the design and the materials. Because, honestly, there's a pretty surprising story here. So when the iPhone 15 Pro came out back in 2023, the big story was the move to titanium. It was a really big deal. It was made of this grade 5 titanium, which made it noticeably lighter than the old stainless steel models, and it had these new contoured edges and a brushed texture that felt really premium in the hand. It has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display, weighs about 187 grams, and it just felt like a solid, well-built device. Now with the 17 Pro, Apple did something interesting. They moved to a unibody aluminum design. And I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that a downgrade from titanium? And on paper, yeah, you could see it that way. When you hold them side by side, the 15 Pro does feel a bit more dense. But honestly, the experience of using the 17 Pro is an upgrade. This unibody design with the even more rounded sides is just so comfortable to hold. It feels less like a sharp-edged tool and more like something that was designed to fit in your hand. The display size has also changed. The 17 Pro bumps the screen up to 6.3 inches. But here's the thing. Apple made the bezels so incredibly thin that while the phone is a little bigger, it doesn't feel dramatically larger in the hand. The rounded edges really help with that. But we do need to talk about something that went viral with this new aluminum body. You've probably seen the scratchgate reports. A lot of people on forums and early reviewers were showing that this new anodized aluminum can scratch and dent more easily. Just remember that aluminum is a softer material than the titanium on the 15 Pro or the old stainless steel models. It seems to be mainly an issue on the new colored models like that cosmic orange and the deep blue one, where a scratch can show the brighter aluminum underneath. Even channels like Jerry Rig, everything showed this in his tests. He gave a great explanation, pointing out that the anodizing seems to be weakest on the really sharp corners, like around the camera plateau, more so than on the rounded sides. You can watch his channel for the full deep dive on that. Now honestly, is it that scary? I don't think so, but it is the main reason I decided to play it safe and go with the silver this year. And just a quick thought on the color, I think it's the best one. With silver, the raw aluminum under the finish is, well, also silver, so it's gonna hide any potential micro scratches way better. But other than that, it's just clean, minimalist, and looks amazing with a clear case. It's just elegant. But yeah, if you're worried about it or you really want that deep blue, just put a case on it and you'll be perfectly fine. Okay, let's talk about what's under the hood. The A17 Pro chip in the 15 Pro is no slouch. It was the first 3nm chip, a 6-core CPU, 6-core GPU. It brought hardware-accelerated ray tracing and made console games like Resident Evil Village possible on a phone. It's still incredibly fast, but some of us might remember there were some heat issues at launch. Under heavy load, it could get a little warm, which Apple later addressed with software updates. The 17 Pro, however, takes performance to a completely different level with the new A19 Pro chip. I ran Geekbench 6 and the scores are obviously jump. We're looking at 3,822 for single core and 9,848 for multi-core. To put that in perspective, the multi-core score is beating an M2 iPad Pro. That's a desktop class chip in your pocket. But the raw power isn't even the whole story. The real game changer is that Apple finally put a vapor chamber in here. This is the reason the performance is so consistent. I mean, even during the initial setup, which is when phones always get warm, this thing stayed noticeably cool. Running that benchmark didn't even make it sweat. This is huge for gaming and for pro tasks like editing 4K video on the device. That unibody aluminum design probably helps a lot with dissipating heat too. It's a really smart piece of engineering. The camera on the 15 Pro is fantastic. It has a powerful 48 megapixel main sensor that shoots super high-res 24 megapixel photos by default, a 12 ultra-wide and a 12 megapixel 3x telephoto lens. It's a versatile, reliable system that takes incredible photos and video up to 4K at 60 FPS. It also introduced things like next-gen portraits where you could change the focus after the shot and the ability to record ProRes video directly to an external SSD via its USB-C port, which was a big deal for creators. With the 17 Pro, Apple upgraded the entire rear system to 48 megapixel sensors. This means your ultra-wide and telephoto shots are getting a massive boost in detail. There's no longer that feeling of a quality drop-off when you switch away from the main lens. And they made a really smart change with the zoom. Instead of the 5x from last year's Pro, they went with a 4x and 8x optical quality zoom on this Pro model. For me, this is a much more usable daily focal length. The optical zoom options are now 0.5x, 1x, 2x, 4x, and 8x, and the quality is just stellar across the board. The digital zoom now goes all the way up to 40 times, which is a huge jump from the 15 times on the 15 Pro. For video, you can now shoot in 4K at 120 FPS, which is incredible for slow motion. And the front camera, this is one of those fun but also really functional upgrades. It has a super wide mode that you can use in portrait orientation, so you don't have to turn your phone sideways to get everyone in the shot. I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of other companies copy this. Alright, this is a big one. The iPhone 15 Pro has a 3274 mAh battery. In real world use, it's a solid all-day phone for most people. You can get through a day of moderate use, but if you're a heavy user, you might be looking for a charger by the evening. Okay, but the battery on the iPhone 17 Pro, this is honestly the biggest upgrade for me. And it's not even close. I've been using this phone for about a week. My battery health is at 100% with under 10 cycles, and the endurance is just insane. I use my phone a lot, recording 4K footage for the channel, watching Netflix, some gaming, calls, all on cellular data with high brightness when I'm outside, and at the end of the day, I'm consistently left with 25% of juice. For me, coming from the 15 Pro, this is a legitimate 2-day phone. With my usage pattern, it's completely changed how I think about charging my phone. So let's get down to the cost. When the iPhone 15 Pro launched, it started at $1,000 for the 128 gigs model. Of course, now you can find it for less on the used or refurbished market, making it a really tempting value proposition. The new iPhone 17 Pro starts at $1,099, so it's a $100 price increase over the 15 Pro's launch price. So you're looking at a pretty clear price difference, especially if you're comparing a new 17 Pro to a used 15 Pro. The question you have to ask is whether all those upgrades we just talked about, the insane performance, the massively improved battery, and the more versatile camera system are worth that extra cash to you. So who is the iPhone 15 Pro for in 2025? Honestly, it's for the smart buyer. It's for the person who wants 90% of a modern flagship experience, but doesn't want to pay that top tier price. If you find a good deal on one, it is still an incredibly powerful phone with a great camera and a premium design that will feel fast and capable for years to come. But the iPhone 17 Pro is for the person who relies on their phone for everything and doesn't want to compromise. If your phone is your primary camera for work or content creation, if you're a heavy gamer who wants that sustained performance, or if you're someone who simply never wants to think about their battery life again, then the upgrade is genuinely a massive and noticeable jump. It feels like a true generational leap. For me personally, having skipped the iPhone 16 Pro, making the jump from the 15 Pro to this 17 Pro was a no-brainer. That battery life alone has fundamentally changed how I use my phone day to day. And even though I was skeptical about the aluminum at first, the comfort in the hand and the cool to the touch performance have completely won me over. This is my new daily driver for sure. Ultimately, you can't go wrong with either of these. They're both amazing devices, but they are definitely for different people with different priorities right now. Now, I really want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Are you sticking with an older model like the 15 Pro, or is the 17 Pro calling your name? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, hitting that subscribe button would be amazing. It really helps the channel out. I'll see you all in the next one.